How's it going, everyone? It's that time of the week again. It's time to rank the entries. This time, the fifth entries, and so far, this is the worst of the bunch. So, 3 was a lucky number because all the third entries were my favorites or damn close. Fifth entries, these are the ones that are the most forgettable or just the worst, period, or ones that really just ruined the franchise for good. So let's start at the bottom. What is my number 10? What is the biggest shit bomb here? We got Leprechaun in the Hood. This movie sucks on every fucking level. It fires on 0 cylinders. Everything is awful from the Leprechaun. There's not a single line I can quote from him in this movie. Does he even rhyme? Doesn't matter. But he's not entertaining in the slightest. These characters are all idiotic morons. And the comedy falls flat. There's even like a Scooby-Doo joke where they all like fist bump the next guy, and then it gets down the line, and then all of a sudden like one of them like fist bumps like the Leprechaun, not realizing that it's the Leprechaun, and then they have like that moment where it like finally kicks in, like, oh shit, that's the Leprechaun. Like Scooby-Doo jokes really in a fucking Leprechaun movie. The comedy was not working for me in this movie at all. It was just horrible. It was an absolute fucking chore to get through this one. It has a terrible song at the end that might get stuck in your head, and it's not a song you want stuck in your head. Trust me. And the editing, the kills, the gore, what gore? There is no gore. Everything sucks. The fucking direction, everything about this movie blows, so fuck this movie. It is my number 10. Number 9 goes to a movie that when I ranked it, I had it at dead last, but I rewatched it for this ranking because I wanted to see if anything would change. And I gotta say, it's not as bad as I remembered, but still not good. And that is Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. The story and the writing is the weakest, one of the weakest parts of this movie, because I just do not get this resurrection, just like in part 4, and I do not get the ending and how he's defeated. It is all weird and ridiculous. This is the weakest cast of the franchise. This is one of the weakest acting. I know part 6 has weak acting. A lot of them do, but this is like the most forgettable. Like the comic book guy who looks like he's from like an AHA video, and he even like turns into one. Like the Take On Me thing, like he just turns into a comic book. You got like the what do you call him, Super Freddy. This one is yet, after part 4, another comedic Freddy, except they take it one step further. Right before they take it a giant leap further in part 6. This is the one I think really started the whole joke Freddy. Part 4 was definitely jokey, but this one just takes it further with Super Freddy. The characters all suck, and I just did not like this movie, especially the first time, but even this time I was like, it's not that good. The only thing good I can say about it is that the dream sequences are interesting. Some of them, like the motorcycle one, I like that one. The makeup effects on that. There's even an unrated version that looks cool, but I'm really struggling to think of great things about this. This is like one of the worst makeup effects on Freddy. His face is just awful. It looks just like freaking bubblegum or something. It just looks horrid. So, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, no reason to ever revisit it ever again. And this is from the director of Predator 2. That shocked me. So yeah, this is just not a good sequel. It's very forgettable, and that's all I can say about it. So, number 9. Number 8 goes to a movie that the only thing good I can say about it is that it has some gory ass nasty kills in it, and that is Wrong Turn 5. Yet again, the makeup of these cannibal hillbillies is going way downhill. This is when it starts to look like Masked, and you even got like the whole town dressing up like these hillbillies, so it's kind of going for that, like that Hellraiser Hellworld story where everybody just knows about the villains and they dress up like them, even though this is like a prequel to part 1. So how are they so well known and everybody's like dressing up like hillbillies? It makes no sense. Doug Bradley's in here and he phones in his performance. He is awful, and it's just, I just want to slap him in the face. He's in the prison cell throughout like 80% of it, and he's just taunting and threatening the other characters the entire time. He is just a broken record the whole time. Like, my boys are coming. You're going to be dead. They're going to torture you. Oh, you just wait. And it's like, shut the fuck up, Doug Bradley. Shut up. You suck. The only thing good about this movie is the gratuitous nudity, especially in the opening. You got some pretty girls and great kills. That's it. So, a very forgettable movie, too. So, just skip this one. Just watch, like, the first one, and that's it. Number 7 goes to a movie that sent this franchise straight to VOD, Netflix, and DVD because it was just so horrible. It was the first and only one until the remake that I got to see in theaters, and that is Seed of Chucky. Upon rewatch, I've seen this movie quite a few times, but rewatching it as an adult, yeah, the comedy is not that good in this movie. It's not scary at all. It's not even trying to be. If it is, that's embarrassing. Tiffany is annoying as fuck, and the character of Glenn slash Glenda slash whatever the fuck you want to call that person is the worst written character idea ever in film. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? It has some good kills in it, and Chucky is still at least Chucky. He still has some funny quips and some funny little jokes, and I like when he takes Glenn out hunting and, they're bonding. But the story of this movie, the whole meta thing, just does not work for me. It is pretty awful, and that's why everything after this movie was cursed to go straight to freaking DVD. So thanks a lot, Seed. That's another reason why you're stuck all the way down here, because you cursed my favorite franchise. So you gotta take off points for that too. Number 6 goes to Halloween 5. Just like Seed of Chucky, this one picks up after an awesome ending in part 4, an awesome movie, and completely shits all over it. So this one has something in common with Seed of Chucky. The only thing good I can say about this one is I enjoy Don Shanks as Michael Myers. I think he does a decent job. He doesn't bring much to the role, but he's intimidating in that third act. He has a pretty good third act. Dr. Loomis, he has at least one quotable line, I wished he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew hell wouldn't have him. And he beats the shit out of Myers, which I really like that. I like that Loomis finally got to take out all his anger out on Myers. But there's so much that's wrong with this movie, and it would take me 10 minutes to get through all of it. But just the cliff notes, all the quick things I can mention. The Myers house looks nothing like the Myers house. They just created this whole gothic mansion looking thing just to make it look scary, but it's not the fucking Myers house at all. The mask is fucking terrible, and it just looks, again, nothing like the original mask, and his face isn't even burnt. There's a nitpick, but still, his face isn't even burnt when he takes it off, and now Michael Myers is crying. You kill off Rachel from part 4, which was a very great character, a great addition to the franchise, and you try to pull some kind of Psycho movie bullshit where you're gonna give us a shock kill and it's gonna have an impact and really work, and then you're gonna replace her with somebody better. But what do they replace her with? They replace her with Tina, the worst fucking character in this entire franchise. And you could just tell this movie was made without a script written, and it is just awful. It's one of the worst. Loomis's too. They make him this freaking belligerent, angry, constantly yelling at poor Jamie and just being a thorn in people's sides. Just an absolute asshole. It just ruins almost everything you loved before. It's just a bad, bad movie that for some reason I still keep watching every year. There's some nostalgia for this film because it was on the most. When I was growing up, I would always catch 4 and 5 on TV the most, so I have some nostalgia for it. And this movie's got the laziest score too. The score is awful, everything. So God, the writing, this movie's just bad. So let's just move on. Number 5 goes to Saw 5, the weakest, one of, if not the weakest entry of the Saw franchise. And it's due to the main game, the main characters that we're following. I like everything outside of that. I like all the flashbacks of Hoffman getting to know his history with Jigsaw or whatever, John Kramer. I like all that. I like their interactions. I like Hoffman as a character. I think he's more intimidating than John Kramer. And I like the opening. I like the bookends of this movie. I like the opening kill with the pendulum axe. That's really gory. It's one of the goriest openings of this franchise. And then you get one of the goriest endings with the guy, Detective Strong, getting crushed. So it's a strong open, strong ending, very mediocre, not very well thought out freaking main game in the middle where the whole twist reveal. Is there a twist in this movie? I feel like this is the only Saw movie without a twist. If there is one, it's, oh, we were supposed to work together the whole movie. No shit, Sherlock. You didn't think that those freaking holes in the wall were big enough for more than one person? You're an idiot. And don't excuse it well, they're in a stressful situation, so they're not thinking clearly. Anybody with even half a brain would look at those holes in the wall and be like, hey, I think we could all fit in there. Seriously, I feel like all 4 of them could have fit in one. But they're just not thinking at all. It's just stupid. And then, the trap with, the electricity in the bathtub, they could have dragged that body out into the next room and then drained all of her blood for that last game, but instead they have to basically kill themselves, draining half of their freaking blood supply. They're just not thinking at all. It's just it's irritating. But yeah, everything outside the main game is okay. But the main game itself and the main characters are just the worst of the franchise by far. Number 4 goes to Hellraiser Inferno, one of my personal favorite sequels, because I like that it's different. It's basically like a loop movie, like a Groundhog's Day thing. Spoiler alert. You got like Craig Sheffer or what's his face in here. He's a good character to follow. He's a shithead, and I like that. That's different. You don't usually follow shitheads the entire movie. You're supposed to root for them, but this guy's an asshole, and he's learning his lesson. He's in this infinite loop of like hell where he has to witness his friends die and his family get tortured, and it's just a grim, dark ending. That's what I really like about it. It's got some cool visuals. It's the same director as Sinister, so that makes sense. This guy knows how to make an eerie horror movie. And this one has some of the best like Cenobites in it with the whole like stripper, hooker, whatever the hell they are. They look like they got like black spandex or whatnot on them. They're like digging their hands into his chest, and it just the skin work looks amazing. The only thing I found very odd about this movie is the scene where he gets his ass kicked by 2 like cowboy ninjas, and that makes no fucking sense. I don't know what was going on there. But other than that, this is a good Hellraiser movie. Just don't expect a lot of Cenobites, and you might enjoy it. Number 3 goes to Friday the 13th, Part 5, The New Beginning. This is one that probably a lot of people would have towards the bottom because they can't stand the fact that Jason's not killing people. But you know what? Aesthetically, this is the same fucking movie as the other ones. So you got a guy in a hockey mask killing people. I do find it odd that they don't even show the hockey mask until like the last 20 minutes. Why? Like, if we're supposed to believe Jason's back or something, like why wouldn't they show that? It was just a weird directing decision to purposely leave his face out of the equation until like the last 20 minutes. They're like, oh my gosh, look, it's Jason. But it's not really Jason. I feel like they should have showed the mask the entire time. They got like the blue chevron and things now just to make it different. Yeah, the whole killer reveal thing is just a random shoehorned character. Like, look, it was that one guy. Shock, right? No. It was kind of obvious too. You know, they really like linger on his face. Roy, he's just like staring at the camera, like, I'm pissed off because my son's dead. It's like, really, you knew your son was at that place and you weren't taking care of him. Why wasn't he living with you? Like, seriously, like that doesn't make any sense. And what also doesn't make sense is the fact that the guy who's responsible for setting off Roy, we never get any confirmation that that guy dies, Vic. But one thing I will say positive about this movie is that it's got like the highest body count. Sure, the MPAA fucked this movie too in the ass, like Part 7, but they're still creative. You got the belt one, you know, the garden jewels that shears the eyes. This one has like the most nudity because you got a porn director, Danny Steinman. This one has some of the most memorable characters and memorable lines. I could quote this movie all day. You got Demon from Return of the Living Dead and Vic. You know, ooh, baby, just singing on a porta potty, those goddamn enchiladas, the rednecks next door, you know, chop them up, ma, and would you shut the fuck up? I just love those characters, Ethel and Junior, just so many memorable characters. I really like this one, and that's why it's so high up. I like it. I don't care if you don't. Number 2 goes to Final Destination 5. So that's 2 number 5s that came out after a part 4 that was supposed to be the final chapter, you know, the final destination. But yet we got another one. Except this one, spoiler alert, is a prequel. And I really like that. That's what really stands out about this movie. It's just the fact that it's a prequel. I really like that twist ending. And then I really like that montage at the end where they're playing like the AC/DC song. If you want blood, you got it. I just love that shit. I saw this in 3D opening night. I was excited as fuck when I saw this. I was all over it. Just like Part 4, I was a Final Destination fanatic. It was probably my favorite franchise at the time over the big 3. I was that into this franchise because the kills are phenomenal, especially in Part 5. Like, I think Part 3 has the best, but there's a couple that stand out in this one. You got the gymnastics kill. When that happened in the theater, I was like, what the fuck just happened? Just sound design of her back and like legs breaking in half. You see like her spine poking out her neck. It is gruesome. And then you get the whole, especially when you see it in 3D, it's even more awesome. You get the whole like head getting squished by a Buddha statue and it just splashes right at the screen, all the chunks. It is amazing. This was a movie that was definitely needed to be seen in 3D because it was just that awesome. Seeing all the head chunks come at you and the nail, everything. There's all kinds of shit falling towards the screen. This one has some of the best like setups too. I like the whole acupuncture setup, the whole gymnastics setup. It's just like all these Rube Goldberg machines that we're just like, oh my gosh, anything could kill this guy. This, and that. You know, some of the other movies, they don't really have much of a setup. It's just like very quick, like, oh shit, pole just went and hit that bitch. In this one, you actually get like these long setups that are creatively written. And this was written by the same guy who made the Thing prequel. I think like Eric Heiser, and I think he also wrote the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. And this is my favorite of his work by far. So yeah, the opening disaster, one of my favorite opening disasters, next to the next 180. That's what I call it, because you got Flight 180, and then you got Next 180, the whole highway thing, and then 3, I guess it was just Roller Coaster 180. There was no 180 in the roller coaster, which I find odd why they didn't continue that little trend. But yeah, it's got a great opening. It's got all kinds of great stuff. I don't really care for some of the drama that they're trying to like force into it with the whole like Molly and Sam, like, come to Paris with me. I just didn't really care about those characters. Like, I wasn't invested in them. Like, I couldn't give a shit less if Molly went to Paris with him. I just didn't care. But number one is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is hands down like the top 3 easily best horror remakes, in my opinion at least. And I know a lot of people would agree with that, because I've talked to a lot of people. I've been in horror groups. This one always gets mentioned, and for good reason. This is one of the scariest movies of the 10 I'm talking about. This one's very straightforward. It's gritty. It's sweaty. Like, you feel like you're in Texas with them. The cinematography, the killer, played by like Andrew Minarski, like a wrestler guy. He's freaking like huge, probably weighs over 300 pounds. He is the most intimidating Leatherface. He's my favorite Leatherface. I saw this way before the original. This was my introduction to this franchise, so this will always be nostalgic for me as well. But even without the nostalgia, I know that I would like this better than the original. Sorry, I just do. This one is just better. It works for me more. It's more of a slasher. It's more rewatchable. You got Jessica Biel. She's just amazing. Doesn't make the best decisions, but you can't help but root for her in the third act. And it's just an awesome movie. You got a great addition in Arlie Ermy. You can't talk about this movie without talking about him. He is just almost as intimidating as Leatherface. He's got an awesome performance. You got Jonathan Tucker in here also. It's just an amazing movie. I really love this movie. I've seen it dozens of times. So Texas Chainsaw Massacre is easily my number one. And what is your number one? What is your favorite 5th entry? I feel like with this group of 10 movies, it's probably always going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I will be shocked if any of you put like Halloween 5 or Seed of Chucky or Leprechaun in the Hood at number one. You're fucking crazy. But explain yourself if you do. I feel like this was an easy list to make because of how shitty some of the other ones were. It's like, I looked at this list, I was like, Leatherface, that's number one. It was very easy. So what is your top 10? Put it all in the comments below. If you like what you're seeing, you can hit this like button, share with all your friends, become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month to request movie reviews, and you can become a subscriber if you haven't done so already just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.